Hey everybody, this is Prep and Plumber. I wanted to show y'all, I'm trying this both ways. I'm recording with my cell phone because I know how to use it. But we're using the Coolpix, the Nikon camera, and I'm going to try to do this, video edit it, and post it. So what I'm making is I am making what we here in the South call pork hash. I have chopped up onions, a little bit of seasonings and stuff, and some filtered water, rolling, yeah, it fogged my screen up, rolling in my tamale pot. I have cut up about 9.5 pounds of pork, tenderloin, that I'm going to cover and so on. I have 10 pounds of onions here. I will explain the ratio and how much meat, to how much onions, to how much butter, to spices and this, that, and the other here in a little bit. But I trimmed what I call the fat cap off of this and cleaned it up and cut it up and put it in there, because with the amount of butter you put in there, you really don't need the animal fat. If you didn't have any butter to put in there, I would keep the animal fat. The reason why I have 2 onions, large onions, cut up and in this water is a very crucial step in this process. You parboil them onions, they start dissolving in that water. It fills the water with enzymes. Well, when you throw the meat in there, and I've cubed it all up about 1 inch by 1 inch, something like that. That water starts getting into that meat, cooking into that meat. It makes the meat fall apart and shred. I messed up the first couple times I done this because I didn't add onions to my water to start with. I just threw the meat in there and started cooking it. Well, I'd end up with, broke apart chunks, and it was more chunky hash than shredded hash. And while I'm on the subject, we'll go back to the start of this. I learned this from a guy in South Carolina. He worked with me around Spartanburg. And he's a great guy, but he invited me over to a deer hash cooking. And deer you cut with pork, that way it has enough fat content. But this man cooked it in like a 100-gallon witch's pot that he had a trap door for on his deck. So he's got people in there cutting up meat, people in there cutting up onions, this, that, and the other. He goes and yanks his trap door off of his deck, cleans the pot, cuts the burners on, this, that, and the other. And next thing you know, we're making like hundreds of pounds of deer hash. I know he had 3 whole deer in it. And I couldn't tell you how many pounds of onions and butter and this, that, and the other. I ain't never seen such in my life. When he invited me to, hey, we're going to do a hash cooking this weekend, I thought, hey, we're getting ready to do something illegal. I had no idea what he was talking about, because right here where I'm at in North Carolina, it's not a thing. Well, then I started getting into smoking and barbecuing and this, that, and the other, and I'd go to barbecue competitions. Well, if you look, the barbecue vendors are selling pork hash. So then I got to try a whole bunch of different kinds and this, that, and the other. But up here in my part of North Carolina, this is not a thing. Well, it's now a thing in my family because I make it and everybody wants it. So we're going to stop this here. I'm going to try to keep using this camera. I'm going to stop the video, and hopefully the software editor crap that come with the camera, I'll be able to, go straight from this video into the next video, and just make one long continuous video out of it. Alright, y'all, this is Prep and Plumber, and I'm back. Like I said, this is a trial run on using the Nikon camera. What you want, I don't know if I can do this without the thing. You see how brown that water is? It's almost the exact same color as the onions. That's when they're considered translucent. That's what you want. So at this point, I'm going to add the meat, bring it up to a boil. If I need to add a little bit more water, I'll get some out of the berkey. And yes, I got my old lady's soup going in the crock pot because I don't want to be in the doghouse. So that's what you're looking at. Okay, y'all. So I just wanted to jump back on here. I downloaded this stuff to the computer, and I think I have figured out the software and how to make this clip fade into that clip and everything. So instead of trying to do this on the video on the camera and then turn right around and shoot it on my cell phone for backup, I'm just going to run with this. Because like I said before, we primarily are phasing my old lady's channel toward the cooking and the canning and this, that, and the other, which I'm sure I'll be on there a lot because I'm at home. So, but what I have is I've got the pork and a couple of onions, and I'm bringing it back up to a boil, and we'll let that boil till the pork starts to come apart. And I'll jump on there at that point and I'll show you how the pork's starting to come apart and how to add the onions and the rest of the stuff. Thank you. Alright, y'all. I want to show y'all what I've done. That now has 10 pounds of meat, 10 pounds of onions. I put 1 pound of butter because some of the grease and stuff had cooked out of the pork. And you can see it on top. So, you know, a good cook doesn't use a recipe. So, I seen, there was grease and stuff on top of it. So then I only put 1 pound of butter instead of 2 pounds of butter. And I know everybody's going to sit here and think, hey, this is crazy, this, that, and the other. But this is the basic gist of how to cook pork hash. And like I said, if anybody's been around barbecue competitions around the South and seen pork hash and tried it, they know how good it is. I did put some A1, just a little bit. I put some, what's this here, sauce. And I put a good bit of this right here. This is a local spice company. And it's Georgia All-Purpose Boys barbecue rub. And I did put a little bit of garlic powder in it and some pepper. So now it's a waiting game. It's let it cook till the meat falls apart. You don't see the onions and it just turns into a shredded pile of goodness. Hey everybody, Mama Bear's home and little man is stuck to her like glue because he still ain't feeling good. Now this is the hash, and as you can see, I don't know, let me get right here. So that meat is, you can just rub it and it falls apart. Well, you just keep stirring and rubbing and doing this and doing that. And at this time, you keep that burner cut up about midways and it'll dilute or, steam off all this excess water. And then once it gets like the consistency of like a almost shredded barbecue, then we'll be ready to cut it off, let it cool, and let it pack it. Alright, y'all, I want to show y'all. This is about getting done. I'm going to let it go for a little while longer and get off just a little bit more juice out of it. But when you're done, this is what you're, whoa, stain the lens up again. This is what you're left with. And if you, hang on son, and if you can get as much of that moisture as you can get out the bottom of the pot, son, out the bottom of the pot, or without this sticking to the bottom, you, at this point in the game, you literally have to constantly stir it. I already set some out to be cooling off, but this stuff's great with crackers, on loaf bread. It would be great with hardtack. Put some hardtack down in the bowl, heat this up, put it in there. And what I'm going to do, normally you can it and everything else, but what I'm going to do at this point in the game is I'm going to cut it off, let it cool, and put it in a big old Tupperware bowl let it cool off, and then put it in the refrigerator. And I'll probably package it tomorrow in freezer bags and freeze it, because as soon as they find out I made hash, everybody's going to want a bag of it. So, just let y'all know.